The perpetual list of every time I cross something off, I add stuff. And, well, ultimately it all needs to be done. Kind of started thinking about these baffle seals, which I never did. And the cowl ramps that I got from Aerosport. I ordered some 2216 glue to put in there. The Scotch weld from 3M. That should be here today or tomorrow. And yeah, I'm gonna chip away at those things. Sorry for being vague. I'm not quite sure where this is gonna go. Oh, I also have the red seals that came from RANS, but then I looked at the cowl savers from McFarland, which are black, so I think they'll aesthetically look better. And they have a Teflon coating on the side that rubs up against the inside of the cowl, and that's supposed to supposedly cut vibration down quite a bit. I'm also kind of contemplating on how I can get a nice fit around here. One of the things that came to mind was those foam flower blocks, you know, those green foam things where you stick flowers in. They just collapse easy. So I was like, maybe I can cut those into smaller squares and strategically place them in some key areas, put the cowl on, have that push down and cut into the foam where it needs to be, then remove the cowl, and that'll give me an idea of how far up the baffle seal needs to be, plus obviously add some to that. Not sure if that's weird or if I'm overthinking it, but it might work. When your wife brings home multiple pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream and they're all your favorite. Oops, I was just cleaning up, I had to laugh. So this may be a totally different video. I'm working on the things that are drying right now for the fiberglass thing. And I started to look at the cowl seal. So I don't like the look with like a million different pieces. So again, trying to make it complicated. I think this only needs to go up an inch plus another inch to overlap, and or an inch and a quarter on the further side. And this is 3 inches wide. Long story short, I'm gonna try and make this piece in one piece. And I found some old corrugated cardboard. So I cut that on the table saw. Not the safest thing, but it's that corrugated piece right there. So I cut 3 inches off, and I'm gonna kind of mimic a template to go around there. So the idea is that, you know, as this changes altitude per se, I'd like to keep, you know, a ½ inch the way they want you to on the bottom, and then just cut the top. So I gotta figure out how to cut it, how to drill it, how to bend it, how to glue it. So more adventures lie ahead. All right, scrap that. I don't like floppy things, too hard to measure accurately, and plus it has paint on the other side. Gonna use this. I'm fairly confident that there's a slight chance of success that this might actually work. So these are the widest points, ½ inch, ½ inch. And you can see basically on the inside I just contoured it, so contours this plus the ½ inch, so I have some place to rivet. The highest spot here is obviously 2½ inches. The lowest spot is still 1 3/4, and then it gets big again. And I know the cowl gets very close in this area, so you probably don't need much to have it contour that way. I think what I'm going to try and do is cut this so as close as possible to the actual cowl, and then add, you know, make note of what I need to add to the actual silicone. So I'm going to do that for this, I'm going to do that for that side, and I'm going to do that for here. So in the middle, if I keep this one piece, maybe cut this slit out of it, obviously it's going to want to lean in anyway. and you can put a slit and then staple it together so they stay in. So yeah, I don't know, never seen anybody else do this. It's probably a reason why, kind of like when I tried to make these spacers all in one piece, and that was just a big waste of time. But having fun, that's all that matters, right? Hey, piece by piece, I'm figuring out this side profile here. So I got a light inside the cowling, okay? A little flashlight in there. Then I have a piece that's like 7/8, 1 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch, and I kind of stick them up as best. Oh, where'd my light go? Battery went dead. I stick them up as best as I can and try to get individual markings. This side's easy on this end. This is 1 1/4 inch because I have the oil door here. The other side seems to be a little bit less. Best I can do is kind of sneak up underneath here and get a measurement. So the idea now is to basically cut the top of this, cleco it on, and see if it fits. I know this is really weird, and at the risk of people thinking I'm weird, I'm still gonna post this. But this actually works. So I have a 1/2 inch piece of PVC. I can feel, you know, right about there is where it's parallel with the cowling. I don't know if you can see it in there, but I count 1, 2, between 2 and 3 holes back from this notch. So 1, 2, and I got 1/2 inch. So kind of get as many reference points as I can, and that'll give me a good idea of how far up to the cowling it is. All right, let's see how it fits. And it didn't fit. First dilemma was this guy right here. So I cut it back a 1/2 inch on either side from this edge being you know, vertical. And then remember this template that I had from cutting the spinner? Well, line that up with that, line that up with that, chop both sides. Let's try it again. Again, a lot of this is done by feel, but the eyeballs at the end of my fingertips say it's pretty darn good. More up in there. Have to review that footage, but yeah. I think that's a good start. All right, so this is the one that goes towards the firewall on the back, and I made it with a little joggle. I made this one a little wider. I'm assuming if I kind of convinced a 3-inch piece to make that arch that it will flip forward. If that doesn't work, I'll buy a wider piece or think of something else. I'm kind of doing the same thing here. I know I got, you know, about this ruler is 1 1/4 inches wide, so you got a little bit more than 1 1/4. This is just shy of 1 inch, so kind of run that up, and I get as many points as I can. And I got about 1/3 of the way over, and it's 1 inch, and it's also 1 inch all the way over there. So I'm gonna start by just making all of these 1 inch and see where that brings us. All right, take a look. So, a little bit of gap here. And down there, it's a little bit tight. So, I'll probably live with this gap that's here. probably take a little bit off of that. And I do know that obviously this is just the line where it hits the cowl, and you need to have extra up top to make it flop that way. So I'm going to use this as a template. I'm going to clean it up a little bit. And I'm going to get maybe another 3/16 of an inch off of that from there. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, from like the center over to the left joggle. And then I might cut the red silicone stuff that I have before I order the McFarlane stuff. All right, not bad for initial fit up. The whole thing is one piece. I know I gotta cut the corners and overlap them to pull it in. The cowl, I actually had it on. That's not a problem here and here. Over here, this thing hits it, so I have about an inch, so it kind of crushes that down. I gotta figure out what to do here. The way it joggles back wants to pull it up, and everything else wants to pull it forward, so I may have to do a relief cut, even though I don't want to. But I really like the way the one piece looks, and hopefully nothing will come up that makes me have to cut it into many pieces, but I like that look. So I use a Dremel to Dremel around there and there. It's just easier. I gotta trim this one a little bit more. So in my Curious George kind of way, I tried a bunch of different adhesives to see what actually glues that together. This is the Silicone 2000. This is the CA glue, hot stuff. This is the 2216. Just kind of leaving it overnight here inside and see what happens. Back to the baffle seal. So I trimmed out those things to fit a little bit better. I did put a relief cut here, and I did a little test that if you drill it, kind of like a stop drill, it's less likely to tear than if you just slice it. So that made sense, did that. Drilled a hole that I missed, and prepped these, you know, whatever they call the retaining things that go on there. Just basically polished all the numbers off, cleaned them, deburred them, and gonna make some, whatever you call them, baffle retaining strips. Seven of these strips down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 19 to go. Yay. Make that 23 to go. Even better. Looks like I gotta step up my game as far as drilling the holes here. I need a spacer in there to be right for the holes going through. I'm now in the 3D spectrum. I got this. That was a good amount of work, but I like how it came out. You see all the different strips. There was no rhyme or reason, I just kind of made them fit whatever. Tried to leave a 1/4 inch overhang. Some of them a little bit longer. I might actually make those longer, especially like these two over here. I suppose I could put another rivet in the middle of that, but they didn't line up. This came out really nice. I'm happy with how that came out. That fits really tight. So I'm gonna overlap these this way, and I suppose this could just kind of sit like that. You know, it'll form into shape eventually. Especially if this pulls it down. I don't know. Have to see that. So anyway, that is the silicone baffle cowl secure method, Derek style, and I'll end that video here. I'm not sure when I'm gonna finish this and this stuff here, or I also talked about getting the black stuff from McMaster from McFarlane. But all right, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Happy building, and remember, this is just my solution to problems that don't have any real answers. Everybody does it a little differently. One more thing I forgot to mention is that this side is about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch taller than this side. I don't know if my cowling's crooked, or if our engine is crooked, or if that's just the way it is. It's just something I noticed. I'm not worried about it, but it is a little bit different. So could also be the baffles, no idea. Anyway, see ya. Good night.